This little yellow bug has been causing some negative discourse within the fandom. People like it, people hate it, people hate each other for liking it, people hate each other for hating it. But now that it has been released, public opinion seems to have changed on this figure. But what do I think of it? Greetings, people of YouTube, I'm Screaming Star, and in this video I'll be reviewing the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Animated Universe Bumblebee. The packaging is incredibly standard, nothing out of the ordinary here. All the artworks look great. I don't want this idiot. And let me just unbox it real quick. And out of the box, first impressions weren't great. He's a bit chunky and very small, insert dick joke here. Unfortunately, his accessories don't really help with that. You get a pair of stingers and a pair of rocket boosters. The stingers look great, pretty accurate to how they looked in the show, yet the integration is kinda dookie. Option A, flip down the wrist using a transformation hinge joint, plug the stinger in, rinse and repeat, plug them together a la 2007 Megatron, and this looks very cool. Yet it kind of limits posing, and if you want him to wield the stingers individually, it'll look like that. Or you can settle for option B, plug the stingers into his boosters, use them as jetpacks and that looks swish. Or you could use them as guns? I personally say just screw these and give them some other actual guns. These Ironhide blasters work for me and I like how this looks. What I don't like so much though is how he looks. Now I don't think he looks bad. Doesn't resemble the original animated design to a T, but it doesn't have to. It's just that I find the inherent design to be odd. Now first off, credit where credit is due. This head sculpt looks crisp. Love the off-centered mouth, hammering home that animated style. Chest also looks good if a little too small, that's what he said. But there are other aspects to this aesthetic that I just don't really like looking at. His shoulders look weird, arms are too blocky, his feet aren't big enough, it just doesn't gel well with me, this design. On the contrary though, the figure itself does not feel like jelly. Every joint here is solid and fun to mess with, and appropriately this is where my praises start coming. Whilst he may look mid just standing there, he looks great in poses, and it's very fun getting him into these poses because of his previously mentioned solid joints and his surprisingly great amount of articulation, which I'll walk you through. So his articulation is plentiful, but there are some weird choices, I'm not gonna lie. Head is on a ball joint and it can look all over the place, can even look up that far, that's really good. Even more actually. And of course the usual range. Now these shoulders, I hate these. They move out that far, but they move out at the armpit, thus if you want to move his arms forward, you cannot move them outwards. And the base shoulder can only rotate this far, which gets amplified if you move this joint in, but then what the hell? Also, the outward shoulder joints are on double hinge joints, so I guess that helps out a bit. And this is really my only caveat with the articulation, because otherwise it's great. Get a bicep swivel, elbow bends in that much, surprising wrist swivel for the size. Waist rotation, if you untap the chest piece you get an ab crunch, and that helps out a lot in poses. I love this. Legs can kick forward that far, back that far. He can do the splits. Thigh rotation, which isn't loose, but this tends to happen. It's annoying. Be careful with this. Knee bends in that far. That's great. And if you are annoyed by this gap here, you can fold in this knee pad and that solves that issue. Ankles move down and up just a little bit. There is an ankle pivot, but to access it, you have to kind of finagle it out of its normal position, and you gotta click it into place, and there you go. Articulation is great, and just to show you how much poses you can get out of this guy, I'll showcase a reinvented strike a pose segment. So yeah, after a rough first impression, I'm really starting to love this thing now. Just a fun small toy to mess around with. But how small is he? Just look at my dick size comparisons. Here is Bumblebee next to another Legacy United Deluxe, the Cyberverse Windblade, Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Bumblebee. Comparing him to a regular 6-inch scale figure, we have the Marvel Legends Mr. Knight. And finally, the Transformers Legacy United Voyager class Animated Universe Optimus Prime. What can I say? These two make for a great pairing. And despite me preferring Optimus's design, I'd say Bumblebee is more fun. What? After a very fun yet visually flawed robot mode, will the transformation be enough to make me fully love this figure? Let's find out! Oh my gosh, this car mode is adorable! And that transformation was also a joy to go through. It was simple yet interesting. This time they completely nailed that animated design. It looks straight from the show in this regard. Hasbro really did justice to my favorite Bumblebee design. Huh. Maybe that's why my first impressions went so great. This car mode is flawless. Looks great, feels solid, and rolls spectacularly well due to these pinned-on wheels. Not to mention the weapon storage is very slick. This is actually show accurate, save for these stingers, but they kinda look like blast effects, so I'm good. A great car mode to accompany a fun robot mode. What's not to love? But before I get into my final thoughts, size comparisons. Here's Bumblebee next to Windblade, Rise of the Beasts Bumblebee, Mr. Knight, and finally, Animated Universe Optimus Prime. And that was my review for the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Animated Universe Bumblebee. What a fun little guy he is. He might actually be my favorite Bumblebee figure that I have. Yes, even beating the highly acclaimed Studio Series 100. I highly recommend this figure for any Transformers fans because it's just a nice plaything and it's Bumblebee. Everyone loves Bumblebee, right? The price is a little steep, yes, but I think the entertainment value is enough to make up for it. And thus, if you have enjoyed this review, please do leave a like and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.
That's just a stupid boulder.
It's not just a boulder, it's a rock.